I want to talk about one of my favorite games of all time that I put in so many goddamn hours into, and that is Star Wars Battlefront 2. Now, I originally had this game back on the OG Xbox, mainly because I went with my mom to a garage sale, and it happened to be like a church garage sale, and when we went there, I was looking through games, and I saw Star Wars Battlefront 2 on Xbox, and I was like, yo, I want this. My mom got it for me, and ever since then, I put in so many hours into that game, playing with my friends, playing with my nephew. Me and my nephew used to go crazy in this game. You would have thought we were Shaq and Kobe with all the crazy numbers that we were putting up when it came to us just playing instant act. I had so much goddamn fun with this game, and to me it's one of the greatest sequels of all time because yes, the first game did have some stuff in it that was fun. To me, this game is better, and I had more fun playing this game than the first one. But let's talk about Star Wars Battlefront 2 because it's an all-time classic Star Wars game, and it's arguably one of the best Star Wars games of all time. Now, when it came to Star Wars Battlefront 2, we had a very unique campaign in here, which was the story mode, and it's the Rise of the Empire, and you basically follow the 501st as they see the downfall of the Republic and the rise of the Empire.
Clone Wars. The 501st faced missions critical to the agenda of Chancellor Palpatine. When we arrived at the bombed-out ruins of Megiddo, our Jedi commander believed we had been sent to take out a droid energy collector. What Ki-Adi-Mundi didn't know, however, was that our unit of the 501st was really after an experimental Megiddan power source that the Chancellor wanted for his super laser. Keeping Mundi in the dark wasn't easy. The Jedi had become increasingly wary of the Chancellor's doings, and were on the lookout for the slightest hint of treachery. Just like the rest of them, though, he never caught whiff of what was really going on until it was far too late.
And it's honestly a really fun story mode because you play as the 501st, which is pretty cool, and you have like certain battles that you go into, even though some of the battles are kind of questionable. Did the 501st actually do that? As you look more into Star Wars, as you're playing the story, of course you play as the clones, and then some missions you can play as a Jedi and all that too, because you know you unlock them like as you get certain progress in missions. And I mean, you have some pretty interesting ones, like how you basically get to play out Order 66 because you go into the Jedi temple and you're taking out some of the different Jedi, along with like having to collect certain things or defend certain things from the Jedi. There's little cool things like that as you get to the end of the Republic and go into the Empire, and you have certain missions you do as the Empire too. But it was just a really cool story mode that they added to this game. There are some inconsistencies when it comes to the story because it's like, you know, they probably could have used other clones than just like the 501st, because there are certain missions that you go on that the 501st were most definitely not on. Like I'm pretty sure on Utapau that was like the 212th Attack Battalion, because like that's the one that has like Commander Cody and all that. There are certain things like that are just like not really that consistent. And also it kind of does suck that, you know, in this game we didn't really get no clone commanders or anything. Like I feel like that would have been a really cool thing if we could have got a clone commander, because I mean, hey, we did get Galactic Marines, and I mean, hey, they look really cool in this game, so I mean that's a plus. But I low-key wish we could have just played as Commander Cody or just somebody, just saying I wish we could have. But yeah, but the story mode's a really cool addition to this game, and it actually is really fun to play. Yeah, it can be frustrating at some moments, but that's mainly because of RNG. Like when you're at the Jedi temple, there's a lot of RNG that can happen there, especially like when you're trying to defend some of the stuff. There's some RNG there, but for the most part it's not that bad. And it was just really cool that it gave us a story mode that shows the perspective of the clones as they see the fall of the Republic and the rise of the Empire, and we kind of get to see like some of their thoughts as they went into some of these different battles. You know, this is before Star Wars: The Clone Wars came out, and you know, we really didn't have that much besides like comics and all that show us like what the clones were actually thinking. So this was just a really cool story mode. Now the next mode I want to talk about is Galactic Conquest. This is a mode that a lot of people like, especially people that have played Star Wars Battlefront 2. This is one of their favorite modes. Now what you do in this mode is basically you go across the galaxy, and like you have certain like space battles, and then you have also like planets, and you just conquer all of them. That way you can like finally win at the very end. There's a lot of strategy to this too, because you're also going against the computer, and they have like certain worlds that they conquer too. So like there's a little bit of strategy here, but it's also just something that you can spend hours into, and it was really fun. But to me, it was not my favorite mode. It was a mode that I did like playing, but my favorite mode in here, mainly because I played with my friends and then my nephew a lot, is instant action. This is the mode that I put so many goddamn hours into because it's just a free play mode, and you know, you can add as many maps that you want to, and it was one of my favorite things to do in here because there's so many different game modes that are in instant action. Like you have capture the flag, you have conquest, you have heroes and villains, and also you have the hunt mode, which was on certain stages like Endor and Hoth. Instant action was so fun, and one of the things that makes instant action so goddamn good is the music, because you should already know Star Wars has phenomenal music, but when you put in a video game and we're on these stages, of course you're gonna hear the sounds from like the clones or the CAS, whoever you're on. Like when you're on a clone, you usually say "For the Republic," you hear stuff like that, or you hear some of the blasters in the background. But the music is what really makes instant action so fun. It gets you hyped as you're hearing some of these Star Wars sounds as as you're about to go to war and go against whoever you're about to go against, especially if you're playing against your friend or you're like with your friend. It's just a really fun mode. It was just one of the best things to me in the game, and I spent so many hours in here. Yep, my favorite one was always conquest, because I always like capturing the command post, because it was always just fun doing that as you just take out so many different enemies as you get to the different command posts. And then of course you can either unlock the Jedi or the Sith, whoever you have, and that was one I really enjoyed a lot. Of course I did like capture the flag, because capture the flag does add a little bit of difficulty to, and it was like the fun thing about capture the flag is like if you get shot, that flag you just stole is going to stay there, or they're going to take their flag back to take it back to their base. So that was just one of the fun things. And also you have to defend your base too, so it added a little bit of strategy, and that's a really fun mode. Now one of the best modes that's in instant action is Hero Assault, or I call it Heroes and Villains. Now this is one of the best modes in the game, and if I'm remembering this right, I'm pretty sure this mode was only on Mos Eisley in the original game, because I was recently playing the Classic Collection and I saw that almost every stage had Hero Assault. I was like, I don't remember this game having Hero Assault on every single stage. I thought it was only on Mos Eisley, but I'm pretty sure it was only Mos Eisley, because my nephew and I, we'd pick a whole bunch of different stages, and the last one would always be Mos Eisley, because that would be the heroes versus villains, and that would always be the one we would want to do last, because that one would be like the hypest one to do, because it's a really fun mode. And especially if we're playing against each other, then you know we have lightsabers and all that, and you know the Jedi in this game are very broken. Also shout out to Mace Windu, because Mace Windu was broken in this game, because you know you can do like that double jump, then he hits the ground, he basically breaks it. That was one of my favorite things to do in Hero Assault, but it was one of the funnest modes that was in instant action. It was just so fun playing that mode and playing as the Jedi or as the Sith. And you know sometimes you can play as bounty hunters, or you know you can play as like Leia or Han Solo and Chewbacca, so it was always just fun playing as them. But I will say in that Classic Collection, it kind of shocked me that like they added it to every map. I do know that the game did get DLC like back in the day. I'm not sure if they added like Hero Assault to like every map back then, or if that was like a new thing that was added for the Classic Collection. I'm not really sure though. I feel like that kind of takes away from Hero Assault, because Hero Assault to me always just felt special as it being only on one map instead of it being on every single map. I just feel like it takes away the charm of just like how the original was, when you know it was just only one map. But I mean, it's also, I guess it would be pretty cool just playing heroes and villains on something like Mustafar or something like that. So I guess that's still pretty cool. But when I saw that, I was just like, oh, interesting. I don't remember this being like that. Now one of the last modes to do on instant action that was really fun to do is Hunt, mainly because you can play as the inhabitants of whatever planet you're on. Like if you're on Endor, you play as the Ewoks, and that was really fun to do because you get to play at all these different creatures that are in the Star Wars universe, to some of these important planets that have certain creatures on there. Majority of the time they would be OP and broken, and one of the examples is like on Hoth, as you get to play as the Wampa, and just know the Wampas are so goddamn fun to play with, because one, they're big ass snow monsters and they're very broken. And that's one of the things I liked about Hunt, that you can play as some of these broken monsters that are in the Star Wars universe, and or you can go against them, which is just as fun as like playing as them. So it was just a really fun mode that they added for instant action. Now I want to talk about the Classic Collection just for a little bit, because yeah, I know that Star Wars Battlefront 2 has been on Xbox for years, but it finally went to Switch and PlayStation. But I just want to talk about some of the things I noticed, because I was originally going to get on the Xbox, but I just never got it. But then eventually I did finally get on the PlayStation. But there's a few things that I've noticed about it that are really interesting. Now the first thing I want to talk about is just stuff that I knew that was in Star Wars Battlefront 2, because like it was DLC, was like, of course, you know, Kit Fisto and Asajj Ventress being added. Now what I always found interesting about those two being DLC additions is that Kit Fisto is literally on the cover of Star Wars Battlefront 2, and it's like, dog, why was he not in the base game? That's one of the things I just always wondered, like, why exactly was he not in the base game? Because like, dog, he's on the front cover of the game and you don't even have him in the game. He doesn't come in until like DLC. So that was always one of the interesting things about Star Wars Battlefront 2, is that Kit Fisto was DLC and he was not part of like the main roster. Now one of the things I thought that was really cool that they added into instant action was a new mode, and it's called EX. And like they added this mode on PC in the Classic Collection. It's basically just like a big ass war. You can do this on certain maps like Geonosis, and it's just another fun thing you can do, because it just gives you a big ass war setting, and it's pretty fun to do, especially if you like playing instant action. Then yeah, you're gonna enjoy that. That was one of the cool additions that they added. I was just like, oh wow, that was pretty cool that they added just like an extra little mode, because I love playing instant action, so it was just a cool mode to me. Now I talked about this earlier, how music was one of the best things in this game, and especially for instant action. Now for the Classic Collection, at least on PS5, some reason there is no music playing when you're playing instant action, and it's so boring playing like that. The game is still fun, it's just music is what really made the game really fun, in my opinion. It's like taking away the music just takes away a key element from the game, and that's why I go back to this game and play. Like, yeah, the Classic Collection, it does look really good, it's upscaled, it looks beautiful and all that. I just feel like with them taking away the music for no goddamn reason, because like I had to look it up, because I thought I was tripping. I was like, is there a setting that I have off or something? But I looked it up and I saw other people were complaining that the music wasn't there, and I guess like an update happened and took the music away, and I'm just like, why is the music gone when it's a staple to this game? Like, the music is one of the best things to do when you're in instant action, so like it don't make sense why the music is missing. Maybe they've added the music since then, but like I swear last time I played I did not see the music, and that kind of sucks that they took away the music. I'm just like, why? The music was a staple to instant action. One of the other things I just got to talk about that you can do in this game is you have space battles, and space battles look gorgeous. But when it came to space battles, for me, I never really cared about space battles, especially like when you're in the space part. Now, when you land on a ship and you can like go blow up like the ship thing, that was really cool. But like the space battle like aspect to it, I never really enjoyed that part, like when you're out in space and like you gotta fight enemies. But to me, the controls never really felt that good when it came to space battles, so I didn't really enjoy like going out into space. I enjoyed more just going on to another ship and blowing up. I will say it was really cool that you got so many different options of different ships that you could use. That was like one of the cool things I will say that I did enjoy. But space battles, they were okay to me, but they were never really my favorite. I can't lie, me and my nephew, we probably would do like 1 or 2 space battles just because sometimes the controls kind of suck, especially when you're playing on split screen. That can kind of suck a lot too when you're just doing that. But space battles are still really, really cool. Now, one of the other things I know a lot of people really enjoyed was like the online play. Sadly, me, I never really played online back in the day, mainly because I was always just playing with my nephew or I was playing with my friends, so I never really experienced playing online back in the day because it just wasn't really nothing I really wanted to do. To me, this was always just a game that I just sat around the TV playing with my friends and not really something I really wanted to play online. But I know a lot of people did really enjoy the online though. But Star Wars Battlefront 2 will always be one of my favorite games of all time, and to me it's one of the best sequels because the game is so goddamn fun, and I've spent so many goddamn hours into this game, and to me it's still one of the best Star Wars games ever made.